Okay, now I'd like to ask you, what is the main reason for falls in your community? And we're not together being able to do a poll, but I've done many. So if we were doing a poll and you can only pick one, there's a reason, there's a method for my madness. Is it because people are bored? Is it because they need the bathroom? Is it because they're reaching for something? Or is it because they're antsy in some way, restless, impulsive? Could all go there. So you have to pick one, and what would you pick? And survey says, guess what? Most falls in most communities revolve around needing to use the bathroom. Um, I'm guessing that may be what came to your mind, and that is something very, very good to be aware of. So, the first proactive practice I've learned to teach is to anticipate needs, particularly the bathroom needs. And if you do that, you will reduce falls. We're going to go to the practice of anticipating bathroom needs. That's our topic for the rest of this time. And I like to draw attention to this very strange word. Do any of you happen to refer to your toileting? I didn't think so. But in a nursing home, wow, that comes up a lot. Oh, she can toilet herself. Oh, we had to help with toileting. Oh, it's on the MDS. Oh, it's in the regs. But even though these words, these old words are in reg, you don't have to use them. Did you notice I avoided a couple words on some of that regulation talk? I avoided the word facility. We actually don't use it in the culture change movement because it doesn't reflect home. And when we change language, there's power in the words when I say your community or your home. It's different than saying facility. A facility is not a home, actually. A facility is just a building. A school is a facility. And why? Isn't that interesting? Because nobody lives there. So, you could have fun with this. I love poking fun at this. It's so funny to say, oh, excuse me, I'll be right back. I got to go toilet myself. And everyone's like, what? It's hilarious. That's one way to change language, is kind of make fun of it and then draw attention to it. And so people are shifting over to just talking about someone's bathroom needs. That's it. Always think normal. If you can just say it normal, like you would say it in your house, that's what we're after. All right, so now I'd love for you to close your eyes. It just kind of fits this thinking process. And I'd like to ask you, what would we have done differently if we never had invented restraints and then alarms? Think of, no restraints, no alarms. What would we have done differently? And everybody says the same thing. Everybody brings up, we would have checked with residents more often. Now, I'm actually avoiding a word, and I'd like you to think about that for a minute. What word am I avoiding when I say proactive checking in with residents? I know it's a lot of words. You might think sometimes new language is wordy, and it is. And it's for sure awkward, and we just want to call that out, and it's okay. Leaders of language tell us it's awkward at first, but if you keep using it, don't go back, you will create a new normal. Isn't that great? So the word being avoided is, rounding. And when someone is rounding, what's happening? Where are they? Where does rounding really take place? Well, sadly, you round up cattle. Yep, people bring that up. And okay, in healthcare, where does it really stem from? Physicians round in a hospital. And this, I just love sharing. This is a point where we don't have to take on the institutional language, just like intervention, just like facility. We don't have to. You don't have to if you don't want to. And so what homes use instead, they avoid the word rounds and rounding, and then they start trying to describe what's really happening. So personally, I do call it, it's kind of lengthy, you don't have to, proactively checking in with residents. And here's why. First of all, can you hear the difference in that sentence compared to this one? Proactively, even if you said proactively checking on residents, there's a difference. What is it? And it's kind of that misnomer. It's kind of that umbrella that we're in charge of you. And adults don't like that. Have you noticed? You are serving adults. The more you can just be equal adults. You don't treat them like children. You don't even check on them. It's just very subtle. But I got to go with the language that creates us being equal. So proactively checking in with residents is very equal. It's exactly what we want to do. No one's in charge of someone else, right? And then, of course, these words might get whittled down. Maybe it's proactive checks. Maybe it's proactive check-ins. One team I'm working with is calling them check-ins, trying to still hold on to the dignity of it, and maybe have to, shorten it sometimes. Now, just like you might say individualized approaches, because there's power in what you're hearing, that's the power of adding the word proactive or proactively. Because every time everyone hears it, we're reminded, oh yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. See, it's kind of harder to use the word anticipation. It didn't quite flow. So that's what we tend to use. You're welcome to use it with us. Speaking of with, see, with really is beautiful because they're an adult. This is their life. We do things with. We don't do, part of the culture change movement is that in an institution, in the institutional way, we do so much for. So rather than doing for or putting upon people, no, we're going to do with. We're going to do life with the people who actually live there. Now, speaking of the word anticipatory or anticipate, I learned this from a leader in this field who's a nurse, and she said, hey, everybody, we need to do anticipatory nursing, not reactionary. Ooh, she's right. So if you're a nurse or in nursing, go for it. Anticipatory nursing. I'd like to learn more, actually, like what is taught in nursing school to anticipate people's needs. And we're going to talk more about that. But then I've kind of added this to the equation, and that simply is let's all be anticipatory, not just nursing, right? So yes, anticipatory nursing, but how about anticipatory care versus reactionary care in general by all of us? So again, just the ways to think about becoming more anticipatory and more proactive. Now, this is also interesting. This is a nurse talking. Sue Masorsky was our very first president of the Pioneer Network when it began. This is the organization that leads culture change nationally and really internationally as well. And check this out. I think it's just so fascinating that in opening remarks, okay, at the opening session of a culture change conference years ago, she actually opened by talking about people needing the bathroom. How funny is that? And she said, hey, guys. It's almost like she was saying, hey, cousins, hey, culture change cousins or brothers and sisters, listen up. I've been asking residents what they really want, and they don't say pretty bathrooms or they don't say new decor. They say, I just want to get to the bathroom when I need it. And I really admire her for bringing things always down to the basics, right? So we're going to talk about that. So getting to the bathroom has to do with the number one reasons for falls. Okay, let's start shifting to being proactive, getting people to the bathroom before they ask us, anticipating their needs, learning their patterns. And now, by the way, that's what they really want. Look at how things are coming together here. So my question is, why don't we treat it that way? Like a higher priority. Think about this. What does someone get kicked out of assisted living for? I just say that for effect. What kicks you out of assisted living? You know what it is? Needing the bathroom or being incontinent. So think about what is probably the number one reason people even live in a nursing home. Now I know there's tons of skilled nursing issues, but if you get kicked out of assisted living because of the bathroom, that kind of proves the point. Probably most people living in a nursing home do need help with the bathroom. Not all, but many, and perhaps most. So there's another point to ponder. And so it makes me think, why isn't the need for getting to the bathroom not the number one priority in most long-term care communities? Why? Shouldn't it be? Wouldn't it make sense if that was our number one priority, that most of what goes on in a nursing home is about making sure people get to the bathroom? I know it sounds odd, but that's what people want, that's what they need, and that's the number one reason for all these falls.